Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. This is being live streamed again. We're here once again with our weekly event. Thank you very much for joining. Get yourselves a cup of tea, get yourselves a glass of water, and we will start very shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We're here once again with our weekly event, Business Success with Lightrise. So if you would like to drop your name in the chat, feel free to do so. It would be great to know where you're from today, or if you're catching up, please do that as well. Great to see you all once again. So we have another learning session today. And before we go into that, just our usual house rules. This is a recorded session. We're being live broadcast today on YouTube. But these sessions are always recorded so people can come back and watch them at their convenience as well. Let's all respect each other online. We're all human beings, but come off mute. If you want to chat, feel free to interrupt me or put your hand up, and we'll keep an eye on the Q&A as we go through today and pick those questions up as we go through. Your preference, how you want to engage. So just remember this, though, this is a safe learning zone. We're always talking about new technology and lots of new things here. So we are all learning together. Some of us are slightly further ahead than others, but there is a lot happening at a very quick pace at the moment. This is my good self. We try to help small businesses make an impact with technology and through our partners, which contribute back to all of the UN sustainable goals. This is our agenda. Happy days. Do you see what I did there? Happy days with Copilot. It's a slight deviation from how to Copilot with PowerApps, but I thought I'd call it Happy Days. And we're going to be talking about PowerApps, and we're going to jump straight into this one today. But before we do, just in case you don't know what PowerApps are, and there's no reason why you should know what PowerApps are, they're this Microsoft thing where you can create your own app, which will sit on your phone or your tablet device or your laptop, your computer. It opens in all sorts of ways. You can capture information. That information could be text, pictures. Maybe you can even create a little game within the Power App. But you've got complete flexibility of all those things. And these have been around for several years now. But I must confess, the strapline here has been, these are low code, no code solutions, but always did feel a little bit incongruent to myself because I knew that as soon as you get into any sort of depth with it, you did need to know a little bit of coding, and it's still helpful. But what we've got now happening with our helper, Copilot, it really is a genuine helper. I'm super excited about this one today because what would have taken days and would have involved developers, Power Platform developers, you can genuinely now create something quite sophisticated with prompting. And when we talk about PowerApps, we need to set them in the context of some other bits and pieces which Microsoft do in this Power area. One of them is Power Automate, and it does what it says on the can. It can enable you to automate different things. As an example, you could say, well, I want to do something every time there is a probation key date or an apprenticeship date, or anything within a worker's life cycle. And I use the term worker there to mean contractors and employees. And you can obviously differentiate in the systems between things depending on what you've got. But Power Automate can do sending letters out. It can do alerts. It can automate data entry, sending of forms. It can do some great things across all business processes. You are only really limited by your imagination. And you don't need, again, developers to be able to do those things. We're going to see a mix of these things going on today in the application in just a moment. And there's other Power things as well. Power BI being one of the key ones. So that's a leader, but essentially it's business intelligence. And we're now seeing business intelligence being, well, actually, we're seeing this. I saw this in the week, so we just go slightly off. We're all talking about AI and how it can help us. But the reality is, we'll be using this. We're already using these things in our day-to-day tasks, and we'll just see it as a seamless part of the business applications which we're using. And what we're showing you today is an example of that. But again, with Power BI, you'll see it on the side. Then the Copilot helper comes in, and it's just there. And I don't know, this is probably showing my age now, but when Microsoft first started in this area, and it's their 50th birthday this recent week, so happy birthday, Microsoft. But when they first started with Windows, there was this paperclip thing called Clippy. And in many respects, although some people didn't like Clippy, it was very foresighted, because essentially now we have a helper which comes in. But I think people's problem was maybe wasn't helpful enough. And hopefully what we're seeing now, these things are helpful enough. And another important conversation I think I had in the week, because lots of people going, oh, what's the return on investment? What's the return on Copilot? And there's a part of me which is slightly worried that people will see a return on investment in terms of, right, we can cut the workforce. Because with technology like Copilot, it's an enabler. And if you train people and give people the right skills, like in any competencies, it's not a case of cutting, but it's a case of you probably don't need to think about growing your numbers, and numbers could mean all sorts of things here, in the same way that you ordinarily would, because the people that I've seen using these tools, they are increasing their throughput. They're increasing the amount on speak to copywriters, they're increasing the amount they're using these tools as enablers. They're saying, right, I can do more. I can service more people. I can make more positive impacts with this technology. And I think that's a good ethical use of AI. And there's lots of ethics around AI. and there's ethic rules in Europe, which you can find. It came out in August 24. There's good practices by Microsoft. So there's a lot of thinking that should go into that. But today, let's jump to it. We are talking about PowerApps. So this is the PowerApp interface. I'm here in a demo environment. We are on something called make.powerapps.com. You can go there yourself. You might not see what I can see because of what I have in terms of my subscriptions, but you can certainly get started for free with PowerApps, and there are loads of materials out there. A really rich community of amazing people bringing you all of their latest learning and everything in this space. So it's a great place to be. But you can see, like on many of these applications from Microsoft, down the left-hand side there of the screen, we have the various different options which we can go through and navigation through this. But the key thing here, look, is that we have this this prompt in at the start, and we can actually start to ask Power Automate to generate an app for us. And there's other ways here as well that we can do this. So we could do this from, you know, what we might say the ground up. So building the tables and think about the designs, and that would be a traditional approach, you know, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about PowerApps or any other coding approach, but you know, it's important to go through a design stage and think, well, what does this look like? How does it all hang together? But that design stage is now sped up with our helper. In this case, it is Copilot embedded within PowerApps. I'm just going to quickly check the chat there to see if there's any questions. Any questions so far from anyone? No. So we'll just simply go in here and we'll think about this in the context of something that can either be fun or useful, maybe to us in our business. And if we were to think about this and sort of come back to my sort of HR roots, really, and think about the people coming into an organization and maybe what an onboarding process would look like. And maybe we're giving them, we give out hoodies here at Lightrise, you know, when people come in, they get a nice welcome pack. So maybe we want to give some selection to enrich that employee experience, as an example. So let's give it a shot. Let's say we are a small company who specializes, this is where you will find out that I can't spell, in selling rocks from Mars. See what that does. We are a small company specialized in selling rocks from Mars. Create an app which captures from new employees which free space rock they want to receive as part of their onboarding process. Yeah, that looks good. Now let's see what happens. It doesn't do anything. So hang on, let me just jump away from that.
It's got snoo rather than new, so I don't know if it will.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, there we go. I just need to copy that out and shuffle some bits and pieces around here, so bear with me. This is the terms and conditions. if you are worried about things about that from Microsoft, you can go and look in here as well. But let me just jump to another environment which I can carry this out on. Okay, this is coming into play now. Just, oh, here you go. Just didn't want to reveal all of bunch of information, but here, this is just mind blowing. So here I've put the problem in, right? And you might sit down then with someone like me, and I'm probably doing myself out of the job, but you would sit down, right? What are the roles in this? Well, it's thought about who's involved in this. It's worked out. It's worked out. It's put a bit of narrative around this business problem for us. What is the purpose of this plan? Who's involved with it? It's come up with the user stories for us. So we don't need to think about, what it's doing and the different angles that people are going to come in. It's suggested all that to us. And then it says, have I got that right, basically? I generate these user needs for you. Are you okay with that? Or do you want to edit them? Well, we're going to add those roles. And then the data agent comes away and it starts to think about all of the ways that you need to store this tables, right? Or entities. And you can imagine this like spreadsheets if you're coming from that, the different spreadsheets, where spreadsheets are work sheets, should I say, spreadsheets, similar thing. They're kind of like tables in a database. So you're just storing information. But here it's worked it all out. It's worked all those structures out for you. And you can accept those, you can edit them. And we are, in the interests of brevity and time, we're going to click on yes. And you can see it, it's building this out on the right-hand side here. So we've got this tree, but we started off, this is our business problem, right? We're selling these rocks from Mars, and we're going to create this app. It goes through, we've done all that, we've set up the data structures, we've thought about the user journeys, and now it's coming into blending all this together with these user experiences, and these are our apps. And there's two main types of PowerApps, right? There's a Canvas app, and basically that is a bit like that size to your phone. And a model-driven app takes the entire screen up, essentially. But they're both apps. And here it's just created two different styles. Now, it's always worth thinking about who your consumers of information are. No matter what your business, it's a bit like thinking about who your customers are. You have people in a business and they consume information digitally, typically in different ways, but it might not be digitally. And that's why it's really key to work out who the personas are, maybe in an organization like you've got here. Okay, there's a HR administrator, there's an employee, maybe thinking about the different types of technology that they're using. From an IT perspective, are they using Apple, Android devices? Are these apps going to look good? Do they have an internet signal? Because these apps, some of them, you can work offline. So it will capture the information, it will store it, and then it finds the internet and it'll go, whoop. It doesn't make that noise. it goes up into when it gets time to come online. Right, we're going to add these user experiences. And this is bringing it all together. And then we can start to look at what some of these apps look like. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time, it's not instant. Let's see where we are. Oh, I haven't saved my tables. You can see there it's quite good in terms of the prompting. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I can change things there. You've got that engagement with the Copilot on screen. can see there, it's just processing ahead with these tables. So let's just give it a couple of seconds to go through that. So the more complexity that you build into these things, the longer this is going to take. I did mention the Canvas app and the model-driven app, but when I started off on this call today, we were talking about this whole sort of Power Platform area and the different Power things. One of those Power things was a Power Automate. So it's generated that automation for us here, and it said, well, actually, this will be really useful if the employees were notified about the status and the update of their free space selection. I'm going to have to go onto eBay and find maybe Temu has got some. But yeah, that's gone ahead now. Hopefully, yeah, it's gone ahead. It's created by the looks of things now. Got our tables in here, I think. We can now click on the plus sign, and we can see what this is going to look like as a Canvas app. So it's just one experience. Now, we've accelerated. We've moved from something that would have probably taken days of someone's time, or still wouldn't have been accessible to us, because it wouldn't have been accessible to us in terms of pricing, and the whole enabling and empowering everyone on the planet, which is Microsoft's mission, would, you can't make as much of a positive impact, really, because it's restricted. The tools are restricted. But here, genuinely, you hopefully can see that you are empowered. You do benefit from knowing a little bit of coding, but look how far we've come. So we've got our screens now. We can go through, we can take a preview of these screens. Let's just go back to one that looks a bit stronger with some data in it, because what this is also doing for us is it's going to pre-populate some of these tables with demo data for us. So let's just try that again, and we'll go into the employee rock selection. Just wait for this to come into view. And as I am live streaming video at the same time as trying to do all this on a environment which is one of a sort of entry-level ones, really, but it's useful for you to see all of this, I think, working out. Okay, we're back. We are back in there. So let's take a look at our Space Rocks screen. There we go. We can press play there. We can, navigate through, get a feel, and okay, it's not it's not perfect, but it's got you to maybe 70-80% of where you need to be in order to move this forwards, and that's pretty good. Up here you've got the different types of views, so you're going back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of the consumers in your organization. And IT departments will have lists of these assets and know full well, but you can go up here and check it all out. You can see, well, actually, how does this look on a whatever it is, an X, Y, or Z, because we know from our lists, if you're using Azure and those sorts of things, it will list out all of the devices lots of endpoint security things will. But you can just do a quick check to see what those things are going to look like on different applications. So yeah, really, it's really quite exciting time to be living in. So that's the key thing that I really wanted to show you today, and how easy it is to go through and generate those things. Go on, Liz.
So it's amazing you can see what it looks like, particularly on a model of iPad or whatever, which is great and saves a lot of time. But can you configure it so it looks better?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my word.
Yes, yeah, you can. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just keep that one open in case we want to get back onto that screen again, and I'll just go into another tab, and we'll. So we're in something called the PowerApps Studio at the moment, which is like our admin editor place. The place where we construct things essentially, and in here we can see all of the components of this particular app. We can make changes. It's a drag and drop interface. There will be lots of technical bits and pieces in here, but you can, to some degree, ignore the elements and just make changes to the screen components, which we'll have in here as well. Now, I'm not. See if we can, let's edit a record, and let's come back to here. We'll just wait for this to come back into action. There we go. So this is our editor view. And in here, you've essentially got a hierarchy. So here's the app, and these are all the bits and pieces that it's built. These are all of our screens. We won't go for all the navigation on here today, but the other key area is the data. So these are the tables that it's created for us, and it's linked all of those together. But the one in terms of changing the look and feel, so for example, you might want to go in to here and make some changes to the label name, the buttons, the colors, those types of things, and we can use the formatting on the ribbon, a bit like many other Microsoft interfaces. Really, we can insert different bits and pieces into this as well. And as we're going through there, I don't know if you spotted that, but you've got Copilot. So it actually is there again on the side, and it's saying, well, you don't really need to know all that because I can do it for you. And you can say, oh, I want to include this. So let's see, change the color for British viewers, for our US viewers, from blue to, I don't know, orange or something like that. And let's see what that does. Copilot has disappeared somewhere. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should have been a bit more specific. So the good example around your prompting, because in fairness, how does it know? I did say blue though, but hey, you can get, you can say, oh, I'm actually not going to keep that. Yeah, I'll add more context in there. So you can really start to finesse, what this looks like, not through, the usual, I'll right click, change the color, drag that around, change the font size, etc. But just by the prompting again, I'm not sure. You sit there with a glass of water, a cup of tea, coffee, thinking, okay, well, what if? And just focusing, on the alignment, is that okay? What I mean, thinking about the functionality. If I was using that, and maybe I'd like to see some photos, add in some rock photos. This might be challenging it now. I don't know if it can do this. Add in some rock photos, and of course, we probably need to be more specific, because rock could be music, right? Could be rock music. So let's put in geological rock photos. So we might, it does work, might end up with anything. And it's doing something again. So we'll, I know that was, well, maybe if I spelt it right, maybe if I spelt it right, add in some geological pictures. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but you get the context here. We can move around this editor space. We can have a natural language dialogue with the helper, and it can then help us construct different things. So let's have a look on, yeah, we've got a layout, yeah, lots of different changes there. And it's never been easier than it is now, I would say. Does that answer your question, Liz? Yeah.
It does. And I assume if you can just insert photos and change font, you can also do things like company branding quite easily as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is a way of controlling this as well from an IT perspective. It's great that everyone can do this, but imagine if everyone did do this, and you could have all sorts of challenges on your hands. So there is a way that IT departments can see what's going on here, and you can do certain things within your control. You can not do other things depending on the security framework. So they've got all that locked down. And there is this thing called like the Center of Excellence, and there are background tools where you can see how people are using these things. You can even put in governance if you want to say, well, actually, you can play around in all of these things. If it becomes useful, it goes to this point. We give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then it gets released to your wider colleagues because it's of benefit to many other people. So you can control things that way. Excellent question, man. Excellent question. Any other questions from anyone? No. Okay. Yes. PowerApps. If you want to check this out, make.powerapps.com. So I'm using the Copilot licensing here, but you can use Copilot again with Power Automate as well. So lots of really cool things that you can do there, and you can say that it's actually generated on one of these experiences the Power Automate for us. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I will try and squeeze this in, and then we will draw this session to a close today. But let me see if we can just get back to where we were. So let's try and go back here. There's our plan. We scroll right down here. Then we've got these different experiences here. Here's our Power Automate. It's gone ahead and generated that one. Let's take a look at it so you can see the construct of the Power Automate. Maybe not going to work for me. Let's see. Okay, so this is our suggested flow, but you can see similar sort of interface that we've got here with Power Automate. So you can prompt if you went into Power Automate exclusively, similar thing. Here it's also automatically put those things in it. It's created this trigger. It's going to work on a button. It's going to send an Outlook. It's going to post something to Teams as well about the space rock. And is that good enough? Or maybe not. Let's have a look at the other suggestion. It's a secondary suggestion there. Okay, well, this is something's happening on SharePoint. It's going to send an email. So, we get the option there to keep those, give some feedback to the AI learning engine to see whether it's on track in terms of what it's providing us as suggestions, all of those sorts of things that you can do with these experiences. So that is near time for us today. We're going to jump back to our presentation. There are all sorts of things that we can do with this. Hopefully you've got a good overview of what you can do with our apps and Copilot. And very grateful, as always, to spend time with you today. This is a weekly event series, so feel free to sign up. You can check these out post live event. We record them, put them on our YouTube channel. And what we're really excited about this week is we found a way that we can provide you with a personalized business success score around your modern workforce. So a lot of these tools that we're talking around, we've wrapped up into a 39-point questionnaire. Don't worry, it only takes a couple of minutes of your time, but if you want to do that, you can use that QR code there, and it will come back with a personalized PDF for your business. And it will tell you where all your strengths are and the places that you might want to focus on in these very important times with cybersecurity, modern work, HR technologies, and all of those things. So hopefully you find that super useful. If you ever do miss that QR code, you can always find that on my LinkedIn profile too. And that is the end of today's session. So I want to thank you all once again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care.
Thank you so much. Just a quick, can I share your PowerPoint slide, your Gareth Edward Jones slide tonight with the committee?
Of course, yes, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Take care, Liz. Thanks a lot for joining.